there might be a delay for the next step due to money and time. However, I sold something on eBay and got a load of cash for that, so I've managed to get a big box of goodies for YRM, like chassis arms, because I have decided that it's too much hassle to try and repair the ones that are on there. So new chassis arms, A-frame joint, that wasn't from them but it doesn't matter. Bits of aluminium to replace the very rotten section. That rotten section goes on there, and as you can see, it's just gone. So new aluminium sections are there, and then all the brackets needed. All the brackets to go on the arms for the cab and for the high cap body, they're all in there. So get the old arms cut off, get the new ones welded on, and then I can move on to the next bit for the body. I have been to some friends in the next village who've got a 60-ton press and put the new bushes in the A-frame arms. That worked out nicely. When it came to the trailing arms, that didn't go so well. I need to get the bush out, but in my haste I didn't line it up properly, so one of the new bushes for the trailing arms is toasted. But never mind. Get a new one of those and try again. So next step, get the A-frame arms on. Everything's painted, chassis painted, arms are painted, the hangers for those arms, they're all painted. Everything's got hammerite on them. So yeah, get those on, get the axle secured, and then I can move on to replacing the arm, and then onto the other side of the chassis. Once that side's done, we're really getting somewhere now. So let's get to it. Well, I've never seen that before. I've really struggled to get this nut off the end of the trailing arm. Alan kindly heated the nut up with the gas for me. I tried to get it off, I just couldn't get it off. So I was under time pressure. He had lots going on, so I thought, you know what, I'll go home, I'll try again another time. Anyway, I come to the conclusion that if I just nibbled the top of the nut off until I could just see a bit of thread, I could then hit it with the chisel, hopefully break the remainder of the nut, because it'd only be a couple of, well, not even that, 1.5 millimeters deep of thread. So I could break the nut open as it has done. That will loosen it off enough, and I can get it off. But what's happened, I don't know if you can see, the thread there has actually come off the trailing arm. So the thread's actually gone. It's come off inside the nut, which is a real pain, because that's dead now. All that effort, all that time trying to get the bush out of there and get the nut off, and unfortunately it's done with. But never mind. It's a small setback, but not the end of the world. Well, I found something I wasn't expecting to find. 3 roller bearings from the wheel bearings. It did lose its bearings last year, which was a bit of a, no, 2 years ago, sorry. This bearing collapsed before I owned it. This one, this shiny one, has been running around inside the drum and has carved a dirty, great big gouge out of the bottom of the drum. Fits all the way around, so it's ruined the inside of this. That's a bit disappointing. It's a bit of a day of finding old broken. Hang on, the show must go on. So if we've seen already, the armour took off, stripped the threads off the end, so got a new arm. Thankfully it's already got the bush pressed into the other end, because that was always going to be a headache anyway. But they weren't expensive for a pair, so we'll put that all together. It's got to go a long way back. The axles move forwards quite a bit, so I'll probably put a ratchet strap on the rear cross member and just behind the stub axle, because I've taken the hub off and everything. There's no bolts holding the stub axle on, it's just sort of stuck there. So I'll just hopefully tweak that back with a ratchet strap, get this in, get the new bushes in, get it all bolted up, and then really, apart from waiting for a new stub axle and a new brake drum, I can then put this side back together. This is all finished, just need to cut the arm off at the front and do that. What I'll do is I'll get this in first and then I'll cut that off. Then I know it's a bit more secure, just save everything moving around. So yeah, let's get to it. So, after I've shot blasted this side, well, I've taken the worst of the rust off with a hammer and chisel, and then I've shot blasted it, not fully to paint and everything, but just to see what we're working with. And obviously we can see here, again, behind the shock mount, it was the same on the other side. This is so depressed, the camera doesn't really, it does a little bit, shows how much has gone in there. The back of the shock mount was so swollen, it's punched a hole in it and it's rotten away. Same behind the spring, that's rotten. It's through to the second layer of the chassis where it's folded round before it's welded. And then underneath, where the bump stop mount sits, this is really rotten, but then moisture sits in there and it rots away. So I've got to get this rust off and then make a plate again, go under here, and then I can weld the new mount in for the bump stop. But more concerningly, this I thought I'd have to replace for the rear trailing arm, but the shock mount, the spring mount, that's a pain. But I don't know if you can tell, the top of the axle is actually rotten away, so this is quite thin compared to the rest of it. But I certainly can't afford to replace the Salisbury axle, so I'm going to have to cut this off, cut that off, replace those two, and then see what I can do about the bottom shock mount. As you can see, it's obviously been loose and rattled around all over the place. Whether I have to replace this or whether I can sort something out with this, with another plate or something, I might try that. I've got nothing to lose, but we'll have to do something because I can't allow the shock to rattle around in there. But just looking over it, apart from that, you know, this is all nice and solid. Obviously this is going. I thought I'd just try whilst I had the shock blaster out, just try on the aluminium, and that's come up a treat and it's nice and smooth, so I can get those bits sprayed up. And also the wheel, it just stripped the paint straight off the wheels. I can get those manky rusty cream wheels stripped bare and repainted myself, which would be nice. Save a few quid there. Yeah, that's where we are at the moment. I'm really pleased with how this side has panned out. I was just slightly more disappointed with the damage and the rust on this one, but it is an near side. It is the side that's in the gutter and in the puddles all the time, so it's not really that much of a surprise. But on to the next step, tidy up for this day and see how we get on. Thank you very much again for watching.